Seeing that Claire had taken her words seriously, Abby nodded her head and turned around, getting back to packing up for the job. Pulling out some armor, Abby began strapping forearm protecting equipment. Tightening the leather straps on one arm, the other one was soon also covered by the metal. "Why didn't you have that on earlier?" Claire was curious, considering her sister and others were walking back into the guild from having completed a job before meeting Claire and Hannah. Checking on their armor on the forearms to make sure it was correctly worn, Abby said, "We knew that we'd be meeting up with you, so we took on a job that didn't require me to be as protected." Reaching down into the trunk, Abby began pulling out more armor. This time was protection for her shins. Just because you're taking on a job, it doesn't mean that you need to have all your armor on you. Sometimes it's better to have on less, since armor can often restrict your movement. She tightened the shin guard to one leg before moving to the other. Claire watched as Abby finished putting on more armor. Considering it was metal, she could imagine that the equipment was pricey compared to what she was wearing currently. She looked at her own equipment, which was all leather, aside from the small areas that were metal. Since they were trying to save their money to reinvest into their business, the amount of money they spent on equipment was low. Even the laser rifle and pistol was the one that Darlena had given them during the orientation. There was soon the sound of the lid being closed. Claire looked up to see Abby locking the trunk and then hoisting the pack. Putting it on, she began strapping it snugly to her, buckling the straps across the chest and another one around her waist. "Doesn't that chest plate get uncomfortable?" Claire asked her sister. She looked at the plate of metal that protected Abby's vital organs. Shrugging, Abby said, "There's a little pressure, especially after they grew in size. But that's about it. My breathing isn't restricted, which is the most important part." She chuckled. "At least I don't have to worry about them bouncing when I'm running around. Even doing training in the fort, they'd end up bouncing when I went jogging to do my daily physical training. I'd have to use a wrap to get them under control." Claire couldn't help but crack a smile, knowing the difficulties with having larger than average breasts. Compared to when she was at school, her body seemed to have gone through more changes. "We'll need to find you something similar to what I have," Abby pointed at Claire's chest. "You're starting to develop in that area. You won't be able to just pick any kind of chest protection." Though it was just talking about picking out armor, Claire smiled at the idea of going with her sister to shop for equipment. It gave a feeling of normalcy, like what she'd have done with friends at the mall shopping for outfits. Pointing at the straps from her pack, "You'll be getting something similar to this. Using the straps is important, since it prevents the pack from moving around while you walk. Though your stamina is likely to have increased in this environment, both on this side of the portal and the other side, it's important to conserve your energy as much as possible." Abby explained to Claire, "The whole purpose of this job is to get you used to being in the situations where you don't know how long it'll last." Claire nodded her head at Abby's words, making sure to take mental notes. "The nice thing about these buckles is that it's easy to undo them when you need to put your pack down before you fight," Abby said. Seeing the confused expression on Claire's face, Abby continued, "If you have the chance, it's better to fight without the extra weight on your body. But there may be times where you don't have that luxury." Slowly nodding her head, Claire felt like what Abby was saying made a lot of sense and was easy to understand.